Hello and welcome. Today I have the joy to converse with a good friend of mine from the coaching community we belong to, Li-wen, and we'll be talking about how personal breakdown can lead to a journey of self-discovery. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Francesca, for having me.
It's an interesting topic because when we refer to personal breakdown, something negative hovers over it. But then this self-discovery journey sounds very positive. So my question is, can you share with us how your personal pain or your personal breakdowns led you to this beautiful journey?
Yes, thank you for asking the question. I think that sometimes when we live our life, we unknowingly could be running on autopilot. So for me, my life has been good. However, there are times when I feel like I was just existing and not living on purpose, and I couldn't feel the the happiness or fulfillment unless I achieve something. So that's the way I have been living for a long time. And when you are living on autopilot and just exist and not knowing how to make changes, a lot of negative emotions could come with it. But I don't know about you, but for me, we were taught to be grateful for our lives, and I really try to appreciate everything. And so I was ignoring the little sparks and voices inside me that was encouraging me to explore and to be curious and to be more alive. I was talking myself out of it because
Mhm.
it just seems like I cannot have joy and curiosity if I'm not achieving things that are more valued by society and or my family. I am from a Chinese culture background, so perhaps there are some culture influence there as well. So for me, the only way that we can wake up and instead of sleepwalking through life is when something bad happen or a crisis happen, then it kind of just wake you up and
Yes.
force you to take a look at your own life. And that was obviously what happened to me. And I had a really bad back injury, sciatica, back in that would be the beginning of the pandemic, 2020. So I was not very happy with my life. I had a good job. I work in IT and I work in cooperation. Everything is fine. And I had good paying jobs and have family. However, I was not happy and I was ignoring the unhappiness and didn't really want to face it and didn't want to do anything about it. And I had that back issue, which forced me to pause because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move. And I was experiencing a lot of pain for many months. And I don't know if you still remember the pandemic, everything was closed and
Yes.
I couldn't see the physio because it was just not available. Eventually, they became available, so I have them come into my house to
Mhm.
give me the physio um, treatment. But that was certainly something that I experienced that was causing me a lot of pain, not just the physical pain, but the emotional pain of how did I get myself into this state? I was only mid 40s and that's still very young to be having a serious back issue. And I was being very self-critical and harsh with myself for having that experience. And I was kind of having a little bit of the emotional breakdown as well, just for not knowing why I got myself into that situation. And that certainly was the beginning of reevalu reevaluating my life and take a better look and not ignoring the elephant in the room, not ignoring the issue. And so I thought that was a universe's way to wake me up from my sleepwalking or something like that. Yeah.
I like that idea of sleepwalking because we are productive while we are in that phase. We are doing things, we're
Yeah.
functioning, right?
Yes.
But we're not really functioning to our fullest potential.
And I think that I was just feeling very disconnected with myself. If you were to ask me what I wanted back, even 2018 started in 2018, um, I wouldn't be able to tell you what fulfillment looks like or a life of happiness. What would that look like? I wouldn't be able to tell you because I was so disconnected from what I want. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what are some of the things that you experienced that kind of reveal to you a shift, from that pain to something more positive, a journey of self-discovery, self-awareness,
Yes.
self-improvement?
Yes. And I actually started a positive psychology certificate before I had the back injury, but I
Hmm.
was only doing it not seriously, just as a pastime. And during the study of positive psychology, the first thing we learned about was mindfulness and
Yes.
meditation and self awareness. And even at that point, I was like, why do we have to start with mindfulness in a positive psychology certification? And obviously, I didn't have a personal practice at the time, but because of the back injury, because I couldn't move, because the universe was forcing me to pause,
Yes.
I finally had an opportunity to get into a more serious personal practice, which is just bring awareness to bring attention to the present moment. So without that back injury, I probably wouldn't be serious about these personal practices, which is, self-awareness is the beginning of a self-discovery journey. Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to go back to a word you used earlier that
Okay.
struck a chord for me, and this fulfillment.
Mm.
Because when you're sleepwalking, you're not fulfilled. You're just going through the motions, right? So
Yes.
how is that? How did that play a role into your change
Yeah.
approach?
I love how you use the words just going through the motion. That's exactly it. Oh, and fulfillment, the markers for fulfillment before for me was basically what I should be doing or what the society was expecting me to do or something that looks really good on paper, checking the boxes,
Mhm.
working in a corporation, making good money and having a family and owning a house, right? The checking the boxes. Those are important. However, I just never took the time to think, what do I really want? Because when we focus on the external validation, within me, it was still empty. The only time that I feel a little bit good was when I hit a goal, when I achieve something. But that only lasts maybe 2 days maximum. And then my my goal change. How do you call that? The goalposts, right? The goalposts keep changing because I'm not sourcing that peace and happiness and fulfillment from within myself. It was just based on checking boxes. So the self-awareness and being able to turn inward made me realize, oh, how I define fulfillment is more based on other people's opinions rather than mine. But then what's my opinion? What's my markers? And at the beginning of the process, the journey, I really had no clue. Like I mentioned, I was very disconnected with myself. I didn't know what will make me feel fulfilled. Yeah.
Wow. It is very true. Sometimes we are stuck in what we think we're supposed to do.
Yes.
The
Yes.
expectations of others become our own because what else is there,
Yes.
right?
And also the feeling of I want to prove something, right? I want to prove myself by achieving this. And then after that, because I can't source that self-worth from within, it's like, oh, then I need to prove myself again by doing something different. It's always externally focused. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I remember having the privilege really to get to know you when we both took a course in what is called the future self theory,
Yes.
the future self approach. But that has to do with the shift of the mindset of seeing what is really fulfilling for us. What would our future self tell us 5 years from now? Would it say, "Oh, good job, you fulfilled all everybody else's expectations"? you know, good job. Look at these nice pictures. It looks like a Picasso pictures with all these cubes, check marks. But would instead want to ask us or gratefully say, I'm so proud you got done what really brings you joy. And that
Mhm.
was what we discovered. And I saw you blooming through the whole process. And now you're in this certification process to become a coach, which you already are, because I have been in your hands before as a coach when we're practicing. And it's amazing how we discover gifts that we have that we didn't think we did have. We just
Mhm.
didn't think we had. And
Yeah.
so allowing us to look within and do a little bit of
Yeah.
self-discovery can bring a lot of joy. But one question remains to me for our sweet audience. I wonder, what if someone has not taken the future self course? What if they had not have a back pain that woke them up? How would you suggest them to get started to search for that switch, for that shift of mindset?
Yeah, I think when I look back to the time feel when I felt I was not on purpose and also wasn't happy and worry a lot, spending a lot of time thinking what I should be doing. I think that just from looking back, I would really encourage anyone who's struggling with fulfillment, happiness, or feeling like they are not living on purpose to
Mhm.
actually make themselves the purpose right now while they discover to prioritize their health. And for me at the time it was the physical body health because this this is our temple. Anything that you want to do, whatever your purpose is, requires energy, vitality,
Yes.
and a decent uh, level of like the battery is charged to a certain 70%. So for anyone who's struggling with knowing what to do, I think prioritizing their health could be a really good way to start. And when you are just finding ways to recharge the battery, finding ways to cultivate curiosity and joy, do things not because we want to prove anything or achieve anything, do things because our heart is curious about it and because it brings us joy. Yeah, just make ourselves our priority, our purpose for now while we are exploring. And so that would be the my first uh, comment. And the second one is to cultivate self-compassion. And because we
Mm.
can, more often than not, we are very harsh and we always hear the critical voice inside us and telling us nothing is good enough. We are not good enough. This is not good enough, or we have to prove our worth. And by cultivating self-compassion, we are not being compassionate with ourselves just to feel good. Although it's nice to feel good, but we are cultivating compassion so that we can be with ourselves when we are going through hard time. Because
Yes.
self-discovery is a long journey. It's not always easy, and it can be confusing at times or unclear, and it takes time and patience, and being harsh on ourselves is not going to make the journey any more enjoyable. And being compassionate with ourselves when we are experiencing the low, I think it's a very important skill to have. Yeah.
I would agree. That's extremely valuable suggestions there that you just shared. Appreciate that. The self-compassion, especially something we don't always think about, but it is vital because we need care. And I'm
Hmm.
always a good promoter, try to be a good promoter of health, mind, body, and spirit.
Yes,
We cannot take care of a third of us, and so it's important to
exactly.
start where we care for one another. So why don't we care for ourselves?
Yes, especially during the hard times. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So during these hard times, it might be possible that somebody could use a little guidance. So I was wondering if people would like to have a call with you and maybe converse more about this, where could they find you?
May I share a little bit on my own coaching journey right now? So
Yes,
I
please.
am working towards the ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation credentials, and I finished the level 1 program. So I'm working towards ACC, and that requires 100 hours of a coaching experience. So if any of your listener would like to support me, and which also give me an opportunity to support them, they can reach me by booking a connection call on the calendar booking link that I will be providing you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. And I'll be sharing it in the description of this episode. Thank you. That's very good to know. Well, thank you again for taking your time to be with us today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
It's always a joy to talk with you. And
Same.
to the audience, thank you for tuning in. And remember, please take care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. Breathe, smile, and do something to soothe yourself today.